RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Happy July 4th holiday weekend. Independence Day for the United States of America. Woot woot, party, party. Actually, you want to see something really cool to start off the broadcast with? I mean, I don't, you all know, I don't like robots. Robots are a complete waste of everybody's time. What I want to do is I want to educate you. You know, I've been playing this game forever. I know how the sort of mechanics of running a small business of trading works and how you sort of set yourself up for success. And I got this cool message from one of our OGs from back the original crypto cycle. He was able to get into crypto and Bitcoin back when it was in its infancy, and he sent me this cool message that the last day of his work was in July 4th, 2016. And I remember him in particular. I won't name names, but man, he absolutely hated his 9-to-5 job, just hated it with a passion. And thanks to him being basically educated on how to manage money and how to manage yourself and best practices and best behavior, he was able to kiss his 9-to-5 job, and that was his Independence Day. So how ironic, eh? Interesting. Somebody over there on YouTube said, Coke says, why I can't super chat? Has YouTube gone and killed our monetization stuff? I don't know. Chris says, yes, it has. So what a big surprise. Brian rants on about how the 1% is controlling our lives and is terribly politically incorrect, and Google goes and kills us. So Coke says, I don't have the button, so there's just not even any button now. Anyway, thank you, Coke. Appreciate it. Hugs and kisses right back at you. So maybe that's something we can review after the fact, Chris and Stuart. Actually, today is Tuesday, which means that we have TRI CTO on this call. Stuart, do you want to say hi to these good people? Stuart without the T.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Anyway, so in the after party, we'll have a chat with him. And unfortunately, Stuart without the T, Stuart, try and say that right. 8 years in, I think I'll get it eventually one day. Did have a little bit of a hiccup with the breadth indicator here this morning for the stock market. So anyway, Stuart's having lots of fun fighting with the platform today. Also, too, I noticed that good old Alan has gone and screwed up with Twitter. So now we're having a hard time posting just the TRI PMA fee. So Josh, if you're out there, we need to address this problem. It's just one thing after another, eh? I'm not allowed to talk about bread signals here, so we'll skip over that. I suppose in this, it is a holiday session, so fairly light day trading wise. As you all know, I try to be a demonstrator of best practices, sort of set yourself up for success. What does your trading day look like? And I think all day traders probably have to have spreadsheets like these going, hold you to account, and then hopefully what ends up happening is you just go through a regular routine. You get into a routine. So started off the day asking the computer how it was doing. Computer responded that it was feeling pretty good. Asked my diet, and diet's pretty good. Exercise routine, oh man, just horrible pains in my shoulder, just stupid sickness plague now that I have probably for the rest of my life. Thank you, Pfizer and all those idiots. Not going away, and I have no idea how to solve it because the medical system in my country is completely collapsed. Way to go, socialism for the loss. So I'm not quite sure what to do about that. Last night was a bit of a tough night for me. Sleep wise, actually, I forced myself to go to bed early, but ironically enough, because of all the pain, it was a very difficult night for me. But anyway, being an open book for you. I mean, I'm not going to bullshit. This is basically what a trader's life's all about. You got to get in touch with how you're doing individually. Anyway, today was US holiday, so no real trading today. And when I went through my routine, I specifically concentrate on crude oil, gold, and then the stock market. But I noticed, we can just look at these crude. Had this bull ABCD, which of course was hit into the latter part of last week on the 4-hour charts. I always try to find sort of trade location on the 4-hour charts. I like to use things like harmonics, chaos theory, horizontal support and resistance, average true range, moving averages, those kind of things. Yeah, not really the best trade location. If anything, if I was wanting to short, I think I really want to hunt a level right off of these candle body closes right up in here. And that wouldn't surprise me for sort of all the adults come back to work tomorrow morning in Wall Street and Wacker Street and the whole bit. And that probably is an area of interest. So right now, kind of just job owning market higher. If anything, there's a bit of a doji here. So there might be like a midpoint consolidation. So you go A to B, C to D, which would also take us up into that area. So not really any trade location on the crude. And I think I saw that as sort of a continuing theme in the futures this morning. Looking at the gold, same sort of idea. Gold is now in a resistance area, and what probably should happen here is kind of like how you see up, down, up, down, up, down. We're in sort of a zigzaggy location on the charts off these 4-hour charts. So up, down, up, probably down back into moving average support. That is settlement down there. Back up, down, up, down, up, down kind of idea. Probably like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably like 5 swings in here. So 1, 2, 3. We'll probably have like 4 or 5 kind of idea. So nothing really trade wise to do there. Maybe a bit of an inside bar, but you can see today's price action as far charts an inside bar within an inside bar. And that inside bar would fire down here, which is kind of like no man's land. Okay, there's moving average support, there's horizontal support. So could think about something down here, could think about something up top here, but right here, no, nothing to do. And then finally, the stock market. As you can see, my note here this morning, market looks like it's parked. We had this very well-defined inverted head and shoulders, nailed that target on the nose. We also had previous horizontal support and resistance levels, nailed that on the nose. We also had a trend line, nailed that on the nose. And then literally that was into that Friday options expiry. And basically this is exactly where the market makers wanted the market to go into this holiday weekend. And this is what often happens around these sort of wrap yourself in the flag kind of events. July 4th, US Independence Day, rah, rah, isn't capitalism wonderful? Isn't the United States wonderful? Oh yeah, everybody, let's all go, sing the national anthem and just celebrate how wonderful we are kind of idea. So yeah, I've in my long illustrious career, I have very rarely ever seen the market down into a July 4th holiday weekend. That almost never happens. So it doesn't surprise me to see that. Also, too, we're now transitioning out of sort of the winter business environment, sell in May and walk away. That is that transition window where all the big hedge fund managers and stuff square up positions, and then they head off to the Hamptons for the summer, and they'll be back after Labor Day weekend. So now we're transitioning into more of a, it's interesting. You listen to like Bloomberg and stuff. They say, well, it's just a low liquidity summer trading environment. Well, I think the best analogy I've seen in the past like 20, 30 years playing this game is this is the environment where the kids, and typically males, you don't see too many females in this space, The boys are in mom's basement. They've got the crypto machines up and running. And of course, they're looking for those 100Xs, 1000Xs to go buy their Lambos and all that kind of fun talk. So I think we're transitioning into that kind of environment. I don't know whether I really like the steepness of this rally. The market has jumped up an awful long way. We also have had crypto and Bitcoin jump up. There were some pretty powerful buy signals that were issued a few weeks ago on the algos and stuff that sped up some really big gains. Could we use maybe a week or so just to calm everything down and maybe, do things like 50% retracements? Maybe trade back to things like 30 SMAs, which isn't really outlandish. Keep in mind, 200 SMA on the 4-hour chart is all the way down there, right? So, if this thing really does want to come off, it's got permission. And you can even see trend line support is all the way down here. So this is a bit dangerous, I would say. And, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, which we'll look at in a bit. I was wondering whether through the holiday weekend they were going to kind of F around with the price a bit, which they typically do. Also, too, remember we've got the Litecoin halving event coming up, and usually the market tops out about a month or so ahead of that event. It kind of looks like that's what's happening now. So don't be shocked if we actually have to see a bit of a pullback here first week or so of July, because that rally actually came about a week or so early. I was supposed to be able to go on vacation, have a nice quiet week there, the end of June. Then the market bottoms, through the July 4th holiday weekend, and then we get ready for the summer silly season. But no, market says, hey, that Beamish guy's away. Let's ramp this thing up here while he's gone so he can come back and be all frustrated. And that's what they did, bastards. Anyway, we don't start Q2 earnings season in earnest till about the second week of July. So I wouldn't be surprised if, again, like I said, coming back from the holiday weekend, we see a bit of position squaring. And this could very easily turn into a double top breakdown. We are at key technical levels. So to see something like that wouldn't be shocking. We're still trending up. So this might just be a pullback into 30 SMAs, and then we continue on our way. But this, kind of like the comments I've been making about Bitcoin recently, this is a terrible trade location. If you're going to buy here, you are staring at a huge risk window because, of course, we want to buy W's. If you're going to buy the W that comes in here, you better have your stop below these lows, because if we lose these lows, look left, key support isn't all the way to back down into these levels. So that's kind of the market that we're in today. It's a holiday session. They bid the market up. And they really haven't moved this thing at all here. And I wouldn't expect them to move this thing until sort of the adults come back to work tomorrow. So anyway, there's your sort of summary of the Z stock market this morning. And I think if anything, this comment here, parked, I think actually that's perfectly appropriate. So as I sort of noted here, very quiet market, so not really hunting any trade setups or anything along those lines. I won't really get into too much of the other stuff because they're not supposed to talk about that kind of stuff in the public broadcast. What I will say, just FYI, site members, and of course we've got CTO on the call here today. You might make a comment about this. But I did notice the stock market algo, a little bit of a hiccup here. So just be careful interpreting too much information out of that. Did go through the key reversals and some of the screener results yesterday. I was actually pretty surprised to see a big theme that came out, I think, of yesterday's conversation was the gold market, and the gold stocks are starting to look very, very attractive down here. Seeing tons of W's all over the place on these gold stocks. So if you are a gold bug, pay attention. And really through the month of July, heading into the month of August, that's seasonally when gold usually likes to bottom. So get ready, you gold bugs, pay close attention because it looks like something's going on over there. If we actually look at the econs and the data itself, because of the holiday environment, you can see here is Tuesday. Very light day. We did have Canadian manufacturing data come in. reading below 50 implies contraction in the economy. Came out previously 49, and it just got slightly worse. I guess they were looking for it to get, a bit worser than it actually did come in, but it is definitely a sign that the economy is technically contracting. I would say historically, usually Canadian manufacturing data usually actually goes hand in hand with the Canadian currency. But in this screwed up, substitute drama teacher economics world, a lot of the sort of historical connects have been just completely disconnected. And God, I can't wait till we get out of this market state. I have to say, I've told you this before, and I still believe this, that first and foremost, this is what we teach in the education program, and I firmly believe it. The commodity cycle, the cycle that should be friendly for Canada, actually ended at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. So this actually was the end of that last cycle. And through this stupidity of the sickness, stupidity of, the social media engineering, the way that Google now seems to be and YouTube seems to be dominating. All I hear about is this generation, the only way you're going to make money is affiliate marketing. Nobody actually talks about actually going and getting a real job anymore. So like I said, I can't wait till we get back to that world. I don't know how long it's going to take, but eventually we should. But anyway, the point of the matter here is that this should be the Canadian currency, if I'm not mistaken. Swiss, yeah, Canadian and Aussie down below here. So if Canadian manufacturing isn't doing so hot, the solution historically, of course, is just knock the Canadian dollar down a bit. As soon as you knock the Canadian dollar down a bit, then manufacturing in Southern Ontario becomes more competitively priced, and the Americans come and buy Canadian products, and all of a sudden Canadian manufacturing gets back in vogue. But in this screwed up world that we're living in right now, I'm not even quite sure how this is going to play out. And I mean, you can clearly see market's been smiling at us for quite some time. Of course, this was the absolute peak in energy prices. And at this point, do you guys even remember Canadian dollar actually was trading at a premium to the US dollar, and inflation was just not a concern. Standard of living for typical Canadians up here was very, very good. And interestingly enough, the leader of Canada at that time was actually paying down the long-term debt of our society, which is actually what Canada is supposed to do through the commodity-friendly cycle. So as a result, Canadian dollar was very strong, and our inflation, our standard of living in this country was very good. Substitute drama teachers come in, take over, turn on the printing presses, completely disregard economics 101. And sure enough, there is your end result of substitute drama teachers' economies. And the interesting thing here is the solution to this, if Canadian manufacturing is weak, is they should knock this Canadian dollar down. And then manufacturing will come back to Southern Ontario. But I don't know. This is, if anything, a really good lesson that we're going through this great reset, Klaus and all that nonsense. And we're always a student of the market, and what did work in previous cycles may become obsolete now. So as a market participant, I have to be very flexible, and I have to sort of, if the Canadian manufacturing data is weak, but the Canadian dollar is firming up here and actually putting in a bottom, that to me says that the Canadian manufacturing data is going to get even weaker, and the economy is going to get even weaker. The solution to this is to knock the Canadian dollar down. So it's an interesting comparison. If this is kind of like, George Soros broke the Bank of England. Based on the fact that the Canadian manufacturing data is as bad as it is, I should be building put positions on the Canadian dollar. And when the market does get normal again, this Canadian dollar should get absolutely destroyed. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Anyway, of course, Canada, Brian, obviously slightly biased. Sure, most of the audience here is like, why the hell does he keep talking about that silly igloo country up there? And FYI, I've been barking about Canada being a short now for basically the past 4 or 5 years. The interesting thing about this, of course, is that the way that they're solving the economic problems is through hyperinflation. So you have a situation where the prices don't go down, but the standard of living of the citizens collapses. And unfortunately, that's the situation that's going on now. Very similar to like citizens in Venezuela, citizens in Zimbabwe, citizens in Weimar, Germany. I wouldn't be surprised at the end of all this, it's going to take a wheelbarrow of money to go and buy your loaf of bread. Question will be, interesting enough, whether the Americans follow that same path. I'm not quite sure. I have hope that Jerry, ironically enough, Jerry's actually a hard money guy. He actually comes from the George Bush Sr. world. He was part of the Carlyle group. So in a weird sort of way, I think he actually got suckered into this MMT talk and this, oh, well, interest rates will never go up again. And I think actually to a certain degree, he's a bit embarrassed by how he got suckered so badly. And I think he's hell-bent on making damn sure that the US dollar actually does retain some of its purchasing power. So we're seeing a big disconnect between socialist communist countries like Canada and the United States of America. And frankly speaking, I'd like to see that continue. I am a US dollar bull. I will be a US dollar bull for probably the next 10, 15 years. You want sort of a fundamental argument of why to be a US dollar bull, go watch those Peter Zahn videos. I think he does an excellent job explaining the fundamentals of the world. And my advice to all of you is stay the hell away from that China and Winnie the Pooh. That's got disaster written all over it. And I've been barking to you guys forever about that. It's just a potion for disaster. Stay the hell away from that place. Anyway, that's my rant there. Okay, so that's the Econs. Now, the Americans aren't here today, so can't really comment about Econs and it's a holiday session, July 4th, happy Independence Day, all that kind of fun stuff. So the news is actually pretty light here. Would say, just perusing the rags, trying to see if there's any sort of things that are jumping out at me news wise. Not really. Same old, same old. What a surprise. People are taking bribes in this world. Same old, same old. How can just a reiteration of same old, same old. Who can tell me? How can you tell when a politician is lying to you? If you just remember that, you understand how this world works. It's kind of the same. Interesting. Treasury Secretary to make first trip to China seeking better relations. Please don't sell our U.S. bonds. I know they're worthless, but please don't sell. Please don't sell. Please don't sell. Oh, God. I don't know. Can't really comment too much more on this very light day. I think I'll probably just leave it at that. Interesting. A U.S. court orders $146 million penalty over 500,000 missing silver coins. Interesting. Too bad, Alberta. Actually, we should probably. Oh, Mega's here. All right. So you guys didn't get caught up in those tornadoes in Alberta. I was worried about you guys reading that yesterday. Anyway. Yeah. All right. As I said, not really seeing too much either news or econ wise here today. And really, I think that's probably about it for the summary. I mean, we can take a quick boo at the corn. As you can see, I've been watching sort of as the futures trading away. We did get a little bit of weakness. I mean, you can see that's an M top. Problem here, though, if you look at this sort of time frame, The futures are trading here today, but it's a light session. Is this, going short here through the New York Open? Is that really the best trade location? Probably not. If anything, coming out of the holiday weekend, if I did want to short, I should probably be hunting reload zones. Notice 78.6. There's a nice little gap sitting right up there, Brian's favorite fib. There's also a gap sitting here, which is probably about the 50% roll. And then based on this futures chart, we could probably do things like Foggenbaum, since that W'd out there, and 2.618s are probably pretty good objectives. So there you go. So you can see it looks to me like on the retail open tomorrow morning, maybe even through Wednesday, we're probably going to revisit this 31.7 area. So be forewarned for that. At the same time too, though, and I can't show you on this free video, you heard me barking about the stock market, just even Bitcoin itself. Maybe we'll look at like a 4-hour chart here. The Bitcoin futures, we've come an awful long way. So there was the bottom that Brian was going to go on vacation, and this huge spike up here. What do you think the odds are we're actually starting to create momentum divergences now that we're pressing to new highs here? Boy, you can see MACD is nowhere near its old highs. Haven't confirmed any divergences here yet. So we might actually even go and explore the upper part of that range there tomorrow morning on the open. But if anything, actually a little bit of a bull div because that low did go lower than that low. Pretty active trading. That was, of course, the SEC announcement. And you notice we had sort of buying following that event. And then the buying interest through the holiday weekend has been waning. And of course, we got the adults coming back to work tomorrow. Willie's sitting minus 25, so not quite stupidly overbought, but you can see RSI is massively in divergence here. So, same thing with the stock market. Remember I showed you on the 4-hour chart on the ES, the 200 SMA is a million miles away. Well, same thing with Bitcoin. That's pretty darn far away. So no real sort of 4-hour signals here, but you can clearly see this will be pretty self-evident if we go up, pull back against those lows through that SEC event on Friday, rally back up, and if we M out here, then rally's probably done. But it's not the case just yet. And if we're lucky, maybe we push up to new highs. We'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. Looking at the little ones, and then maybe we'll finish off this free video at that. They're starting to look very sort of end of June, beginning of July. Should we be setting ourselves up for the summer silly season in crypto land? This happens to be a name I was interested in, picked up a little bit through reload zones here, pretty cliche. Dumped all the way down, made new lows. In fact, actually, this one even broke the winter lows. I just happen to have it on the screen here, but you can see volume starting to come back a bit. MACD momentum starting to turn back up. RSI is trying to W out. And of course, Willie's stupidly oversold. So is that guy ready to go? If he wants to, he could. Of course, and actually, this is one that I really like. One of our site OGs is a pretty big fan of this guy. Same sort of thing. Coming into the end of June, pretty weak stuff. We've got, we actually had Willie get stupidly oversold. We had RSI, nice little W come in there. Little bit of a div, not really anything to write home about, but a bigger div down, up, down, breakout here on MACD. Money flow and volume looks positive. And of course, there's a W in price. So you can see the makings of this coming seasonal bottom. You can see it coming 100 miles an hour. Do we have to sort of float around these lows and do a bit of backfilling to actually turn the corner? Probably. I mean, nothing's ever a straight line, but we're closer to the bottom end of the range than the top end of the range. And of course, you go out into the public now and you just do a poll of how people are interested in in crypto, and nobody's interested in crypto right now. So, I showed you those Google searches recently. Nobody's interested. So this is actually the time when you really should be paying attention. Interesting how, look at that W. Oh my goodness, so pretty. And, look at this bull div. I mean, this is so textbook. Zugi, where the hell are you? Are you in the call here today? This is everything that we try to teach you, trade location, bottom end of the range, indicator confirmation, big fat bull divs, Willie stupidly oversold, and here comes a big fat W. This stuff is so cliche, it's ridiculous. And this was one of Zug's picks here recently that he really liked, and away it goes. I don't know whether I would chase that there. But working stink bids against these moving averages, not a terrible idea. Wyckoff checks, all that kind of talk. That's probably in a reload zone right down in that area. So you can see the bottoms are coming in. It'll be fun talking with Sjord here in the after party about his particular names. Like we put him on a dollar cost averaging plan just to every single month go and buy a little bit of his 5 or 6 names that he really likes fundamentally in the space, so that we can go and buy an island in the end of 2005, beginning of 2006. And from what I understand, the whole world, I hear just rhetorically so much talk about people expecting a market peak into 2026, 2027. So, crypto is a leading indicator. So if it tops out sort of, first quarter of 2026, that would be absolutely perfect. So here we are. We're the halfway through 2023. We all know Bitcoin likes to bottom about 6 months ahead of the halvening event. We know the halvening event is the second quarter of 2024. So as I've said to you repeatedly, I told all of you this same message in December. And that was setting up these bottoms, and things like Litecoin set up the most absolutely perfect bottom through that event. All right, doesn't really matter where we look at this. Your bottom through that November, December. And I specifically asked you guys, do you have and remember we had one level oneer, Kat, I think her name is. I don't know whether she's even still on the site and watching the show. Sure hope she is. Keep working away, dear. She affectionately changed the term to "Do you have your skirt together?" Because of course we're supposed to be politically correct for Google and all that. And I guess they demonetized us. I guess we should figure out what the hell happened there. All right, so the point of the matter here is I wouldn't be interested in something like Litecoin now. It's gone. But this is just one example. I went on at length recently. Look at that chart. It's so perfect. Drives you crazy how perfect that is. Should probably go buy some more. Mind you, it's not a good price there. But the bottoms are coming in. Just get your plan together. Get your capital together, find out what are your 3 reasons to justify you acting in the marketplace, and get in there. Because this is when you got to have your skirt together. And if the bus leaves the station without you, well, there's no excuses. This is, I think I did this in a recent video, and I'll leave this off here. How do you read this? There is no wrong way to read this. It's not like this is the right way and this is the wrong way. This is capitalism. I can't tell you how to read that. I do see a bunch of you guys over on the YouTube channel are giving me names to look at, but what I would prefer, Dennis, DMAC, Coke, can we do that in the after party? And we'll go through names and stuff and pull up charts and stuff in the after party, okay? But just to finish off this video, right? I'm not going to tell you how to read that. There are 2 very distinct ways to read that, and it's all about your perspective and how much experience you have in the market. Can you force yourself to buy down markets and sell up markets, do the exact opposite to what the public is doing? If you can do that, then that will lead you to this kind of conversation. Can I help you? How have your own Independence Day. This gentleman listened to what I said. And no, it's not Dav. That's for certain. I don't even know if Dav even, I would be willing to bet Dav doesn't even like me anymore. But this gentleman was on the site. He, of course, listened to everything that I taught him. He was obviously a Bitcoin bull and a crypto bull, and he did very, very well. And let me help you celebrate your Independence Day. This stuff that I teach you works. But the issue here is I can't take the trades for you. I can't build the trading plan for you. But I constantly show you when this stuff is happening. And there it goes again, folks. So anyway, caveat emptor, PMA for the win. Let's go on into the after party and have fun chatting with Mr. Panicook. And we'll see how his perspective of site development is going. All right. Have yourselves a great rest of your Independence Day. And let's see if we can all have our own Independence Days and cut ourselves away from the system. The irony of it all, though, is if you actually go make a pile of money, then you actually get even more in tune with how corrupt all these damn politicians are. Remember, how do we tell when a politician's lying to us? How do we tell us when a substitute drama teacher is lying to us? Oh, they're just alive. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Hugs and kisses. All the best. And bye for